Population standard deviation. Now we're going to get into some statistics formulas. So, when I find my population standard deviation, I probably have to do 18. I have to watch because we're also going to have a sample standard deviation. The population standard deviation, they're going to tell you in the problem, they're taking the entire population, whatever it is. So we know that's the one that we're going to use the formula on. First thing we have to do is find the mean of the list of numbers that we have. So if we're going to find the mean, we're going to add our numbers up and divide by how many numbers are on our list. So we're going to take our 27 plus our 36 plus our 7 plus our 26 plus our 19 plus our 35. Once we get that total, we're going to end up dividing that by 6. So I'm going to take my list of numbers and find the mean, add them together, and divide, in this case, by 6. What would be my average? Or my mean, I should say. 25. If you add all those numbers together, you get 150. If I take 150 divided by 6, I'm going to have 25. So now I'm going to use my formula for the population standard deviation, and it's going to look really weird and long. We are going to do the square root of, and then what we have to do is take each of these values minus the mean and then square it and add them together. So on the top of my fraction here, I'm going to start and I'm going to have 27 minus 25 squared plus my next number, 36 minus 25 squared plus my next number, 7 minus 25 squared plus my next one, I have to write smaller, 26 minus 25 squared plus my next one, 19 minus 25 squared plus my last one, 35 minus 25 squared. So on the top of the fraction, we're going to get to the bottom in a second. You take each of your values, subtract the mean, and then you're going to square that answer. On the bottom, you're just going to use the number of values that we had on our list. In this case, it's going to be a 6 because we had 6 numbers in our list to start with. So now we have to figure all of this fun stuff out. Now I just use my calculator and I just punch that in on the top just like it looks with all the parentheses and everything. You could do each of them separately and say, oh, 27 minus 25 is 2, 2 squared is 4, dot, 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 dot. But I just grabbed my calculator and just punched it in with the parentheses. Put parentheses 27 minus 25 squared plus parentheses, so forth. So if we punch all of that in there, what number are we going to get on the top of that fraction? $586. That's good. That's what I got. So on the top, we're going to have 586 over 6. So now we're just going to take our calculator and do the square root of 586 over 6. We are rounding to 2 decimal places, it says in the problem there.
9.88.
So 9.88 is our population standard deviation. Now what they're talking about when they did standard deviation, in case you haven't read chapter 3 yet, is the spread of the numbers from the middle. Most of your people are going to be within, I'm going to round it off to 10, of the middle of that list. Not all of them, but the majority is in between that spread, 9.88. So number 5, same thing. We're doing the population standard deviation, which means we have the entire population. It will say that in the problem. And so I point that out because when you get on the assessment, you have 2 kinds of standard deviations and you want to make sure you're using the right formula. First thing we're going to do is find our mean of our list of numbers. So we're going to add them together. 99 plus 129 plus 117 plus 116 plus 99 and divide them by, this time we have 5.
112.
You get 112, that's what I got, good. 112. Now we have to plug them into our formula. So we're going to do each of our values minus the mean and square them under this big square root. So 99 minus 112 squared plus 129 minus 112 squared plus 117 minus 112 squared plus my 116 minus 112 squared plus my 99 minus 112 squared. And on the bottom of that fraction is going to be your number 5 items on our list. So, have we figured out what our top number is here? Still working on it. Oops.
Because usually you could just push enter, right? Oh, I forgot to
print this yes there on the top. Yep. Did we get our top number yet?
Hello? Yep.
And then do you divide it all by 5?
We will. What did you get for your top number? Just to make sure we all get the same number. And
25.85?
Whoops.
Are we rounding it? Or is that wrong?
It must be. What did you get when you got your top number here when you did all this part right here? 668 is what you should get. So perhaps, I don't know if you hit equals first, but you have to make sure you do this whole top part and get one number before you try to do your dividing by 5. So I get 668 on the top over 5, and then I'm going to do the square root of 668 over 5 and round it off to 2 decimal places again.
11.56.
11.56 then should be our standard deviation. By the way, the symbol for population standard deviation looks something sort of like that. I'm not a very good drawer. Mu is what that's called. But you will see that. All right. So number 6. Again, we are going to figure out our population standard deviation because we're doing the entire population. The ages and years of my 5 doctors at my local clinic. They're not very old. 37, 45, 47, 53, and 33. Again, we have 5 people on our list, so we're going to find our mean first.
43.
Our mean is 43. And then we're going to use our formula for population standard deviation by taking those minus the mean. 37 minus 43 squared plus 45 minus 43 squared plus 47 minus 43 squared plus 53 minus 43 squared plus 33 minus 43 squared over 5. $256 on the top. So 256 over 5. We're going to do the square root of 256 over 5 and round it off to 2 decimal places.
7.16.
7.16. Now, you are going to have a technology activity, but I'm just going to point this out to you now. If you want to check your answers by using the calculator, what we're going to do is put our list into the stat thing like we did with when we sorted it. So if you turn that on, hit stat, and 1 for edit, and enter in your 5 numbers. We'll do the 5 numbers from number 6 in that list. So 37, enter, 45, 47, 53, and 33. Once you have your 5 numbers in, you're going to hit the stat button again. And notice on the top you have edit, calc, and test. We're going to do the calculation, so we're going to go to the calc. So if you arrow over so it says calculation, calc. Number 1 is for 1 variable statistics. That's what we're doing is a 1 variable statistics. So we're going to hit number 1. This will be on your technology sheet.
What did I do now?
So you got your listed, yep, hit stat, then go over to calculate, and then do number 1 for 1 variable statistics. So just hit number 1 there, or enter on it. Now we want to do list 1. This is new. On my new calculator. I got to check to see. Okay. You just have to make sure you have list 1 in there, which you do. If you had them in a different list, list 2, 3, you'd have to change that. But otherwise, just go down to calculate and enter. Notice it gives you a bunch of statistics. The first one is the mean. The symbol for mean, which we've calculated before, they call it X bar. So X bar is our mean. Our mean was 43. Hey, that's what we got there, right? Our mean was 43. This next one down is the sum. The sum of X is 215. If I would add all these numbers together here, you've got 215. That's what that stands for. The next one is if you take your sum and you square it. So if you take 215 and you square it, you get 9,501. The next one is your sample population, or sample standard deviation, which we're going to calculate here in a minute. But then you notice you have this one. If I could draw. Your population standard deviation of X says 7.15541 da 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 da. We rounded it off to this, right? So we can look there. If I keep going down, N is the number. We had 5 numbers on our list. Minimum of X, our smallest number on our list was 33. And then when we were doing the box and whisker thing where we have our quartiles, if you arrow down, your quartile 1 is 35, your median's 45, quartile 3 is 50, maximum is 53 from our box and whiskers that we did last week. So, under the stat, if you go to calculation, it calculates some of these formulas out for you. Not that I want you just to punch them into your calculator, but I want you to work them out and then check them with your calculator to make sure you're doing the formulas right.